roller from them.
Oh, man. Special dice.
Oh, one. Well, because I use one of your special dice.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's one that I got from the
Mighty
Melee tournament.
Yeah. What, your tournament-winning dice?
Ah,
I guess.
I probably rolled it.
There you go then. Well, I rolled it to success on a 2. So maybe you didn't roll it. I will be doing the intro. Welcome everyone to All Out AOS Presents Tip of the Spear, our Spearhead-centered podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a look back because we do deep dive reviews onto each army. We've finally finished all of the original armies and all the ones that were in the Fire and Jade book, because Skaven and Stormcast are awkward. They had to have 2 in there.
We're also going to include the Helsmiths because...
And Ironjawz aren't in the books. That was their first ones.
Essentially, every army's first Spearhead, and technically Skaven and Stormcast's first 2.
Yeah.
Because they got 2 at the exact same time.
Yeah. We've now done our review of the units, the abilities, battle traits, our sort of experience with them on the table. And as part of that, we have a rating system. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be looking back at that rating system, because some of them have had erratas, so that might obviously change how we do rate them. And also I think sometimes it's just good to look back and go, oh, did you realise that we rated this army the same as this? Maybe we wouldn't. Maybe we'd kind of shuffle it around a little bit. But if you are planning on maybe watching certain ones of them and kind of want to find out as you're watching what we give them, then maybe stop this one now and go and listen to those. But if you have, as I'm sure you are a devoted listener and you've heard all of our episodes, stay here and find out that. But first, how has your Age of Sigmar week been, Robin?
I lost a league game, so that's not fun. But we did just do our tournament, the Realm Strike one, and we both did pretty good in it again, so that's always a good one. I have continued my undefeated streak.
Yes, so we have to name it now because you have now suffered a draw. So
I
well done, Matt, for we're slowly getting him down to a loss. Yep, really, really well run event. If you want sort of more details on that, then do watch our video for that. But overall, I came 3rd and Robin came 2nd with your 3 wins and a draw, and I got 3 wins and a loss by 1 point, unfortunately.
Did not play each other, which is always a bonus.
Which was the big bonus, yeah. And so they are looking at putting those tournaments on again. So if you are interested, then we would definitely recommend that one.
If we're going to any, we'll more than likely be putting some kind of community post on YouTube about that. So keep an eye on that.
And we are going to one. We will have been to one yesterday by the time this released on podcast. So something would have happened. We probably would have played each other because I had to make up for not playing in this one.
Somehow play each other twice.
We're really looking forward to that at the Outpost in Sheffield. I have not played a league full game, but I've played a full 2,000 point game with our friend Luke, and I was very good at tactics, but I'd say that was where all the positives end for me. I didn't do a lot of damage against Nurgle, who are tough.
Yeah, it's hard to chew from.
And I struggled to get on the objectives to control as well. So, interesting to see the new game. And I'm still learning Bone Reapers, I think. But I'm enjoying them because the mobility and the magic compared to Fire Slayers that I've been doing so much of recently. But I've definitely got some fine tuning to do on them.
Yeah.
Well, moving on from that then. So, from doing all of those, we've done 27 reviews.
It feels like more. I mean, it is, isn't it? Because we've done a few newer ones in between them.
What we do, if I'm sure you all know and you've listened, is we give them 2 ratings. The first one is for aesthetics, painting, putting together. And the other one is competitive playability and fun. They are rated out of 5. We are yet to give one a 0, although I think I had to talk you down from a few that you would. And we have given a few 5s.
This is my chance to get them 0s.
This is. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our lowest rated one and work our way up. Before we do, because I do like to give Robin some tests, because because he never revises for them, so it's fine.
I mean, you didn't tell me about these tests.
It doesn't make a difference.
But I wouldn't. Yeah, even if you'd given me all the time in the world, I still wouldn't have bothered.
Have you got any predictions? Just what you think are highest overall rating? So when you add the two numbers together, so obviously 10 is your max score. Which armies do you think kind of up there?
Probably still the original Sylvaneth. Probably there's 2 Skavens. They're probably quite high. Probably the Yanastra one. It's probably not the highest, but I imagine we probably give both of them quite high scores. Oh no, we'll go Karajan. Go Karajan Overlords. Yeah, they'll be high.
You've only named 2 in the top 10. And what about the lowest ones, do you think? Which ones do you think we'll be talking about very shortly?
Flesh Eaters, Fire Slayers, Deepkin, Cities, and Helsmiths.
You've named 3 of the bottom 5. So, okay, you've done quite well there. And some of them are fairly recent in the brain, I guess, which kind of helps. So, again, we'll start at the bottom. We'll work our way up. But before I do, because it will reveal kind of as we're going, there's a number that we've given a large amount of armies for the aesthetics. What number do you think that is?
3.5.
4.5.
4.5.
6 of the armies. So what's that, about a quarter?
Yeah.
Roughly? 4.5, which I think is crazy. I think because sometimes we don't want to give them a 5, but we really like them, so I guess we give them that higher number.
Did we ever give anything a 5?
We have given 2 armies for the aesthetics a 5. Neither of the armies are in the top 5 overall. And for the competitive playability fun, we have only given 1 army a 5. We've also only given 2 1s to 2 armies. So we're going to begin with our lowest ranked army, with the Ideneth Deepkin Soul Raid Hunt. We gave the aesthetics a 1.5, basically because they were a nightmare to put together and to paint. They do look pretty cool, but all of those things put it down. And we gave their competitive playability fun a 1. You strongly wanted to give it a 0.5, maybe even a 0. I fought you up to a 1. So their overall score is a 2.5. Obviously, that is a very recent one, so I assume we're probably sticking with our guns.
Well, I mean, I'd still want to give them a 0.5.
I feel like that's a bit really rough.
I feel like maybe, like you say, I got pretty wound up in that one, and maybe I was a little too harsh. So yeah, we'll stick with a 1 for that one.
Yeah. Obviously, we've always said it, is we think that the older armies generally are better. Because I looked at that, and they are a whole 2 points below the next lowest army. And I was like, whoa, were we too maybe harsh with that? But maybe it'll be when we get to the newer armies that aren't very good, i.e. Maggotkin of Nurgle, that they will equally be as low. So it won't look like that one outlier is too far away. I think maybe it is just the fact that, I feel like, in general, the older ones were better, so we've given them higher marks.
Yeah, probably.
Our next lowest score of a 4.5 collectively was the Uruk Warkan's Ironjawz, the Ironjawz Big Mob. We gave their aesthetics a 2.5 and their playability a 2.
Yeah.
I think the 2.5 is basically just, they're all infantry, unfortunately.
They're all basically the same model with different sizes.
But we do like them as a beginner army.
Yeah.
Very easy to paint, very easy to put together. That's why it's got the 2.5. It's kind of in the middle there, because they had some nice positives, but on the whole, I don't think it could go any higher than a 2.5. And we gave the competitive playability fun a 2. Now we did actually do that after the errata.
Yes.
Which did surprise me.
They gave them the reinforcement.
Because I do wonder whether maybe they're now a 2.5. They are the destruction swingy, that they can definitely have games where they do well, and the rules change help that. They can also have bad games when they don't. So I wondered whether, retrospectively, we want to put that up to a 2.5. So I've definitely had games when I've been close and lost to it. I've also had games when I felt a bit sorry for my opponent, because they're just, I think that's such a hard army to do well with. And if you're an inexperienced player,
I think that's
quite tricky.
Sort of what's keeping it back. Maybe if we were just doing competitiveness, the reinforcement element would bump them up. But I'm thinking it as if you're new, I don't know if you'll necessarily do very well with them as a new player.
I wondered whether we can kind of put them into a Destruction 2.5 because you can do well with them.
I think to do well on I think to do well on this against someone experienced against it, you need to roll above average to still do well. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yeah.
You turn one if you pick I get extra dice when I do my big charge and you get your big charges off. Yeah, it'll probably smash whatever arm it's going. I'm not debating that.
Sounds like we're leaving it at a 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. The next highest was that we've got 3 that draw on a combined score of 5. Was Fyreslayer's Sage Axeband. We gave their aesthetics a 3.5, and we gave their playing a 1.5. So that is the joint second worst for playing.
So obviously that was one of the ones we did quite early on.
Yep.
And since then, as daft as it sounds, I've still not lost to them. But maybe I don't think they're as bad as they are. I would be maybe push them up to a 2.
I know enough games that people have played when they've gone, I've gone Fyreslayers, and they've gone, Fyreslayers, they threw their axes and did a gazillion damage, and I go, it never seems to happen in my game with them. So I do think maybe a 1.5 is maybe a little low because they do have the potential. I think there definitely should be at least a 2.
Yeah.
Which would bump them up to a 5.5 overall.
I think maybe we bump them up to a 2.
I've had one game using them, and I went against Slaves to Darkness, the original one, and I did do a ton of damage with my throwing axes, and the opponent was like, your army does so much damage. I'm like, well, not normally. I'm rolling way above. And then literally next game I then played against Gloomspite Gits, and they wiped the floor with me. So that's the way I always felt about them. I felt like you had to roll better than average, not just average, because you're throwing axes. It's on a 4 up to do D3.
Like you say, looking at it, I think it's a good ability that if you can use effectively very well, you could potentially use your terrain to keep X amount of units back. So you move forward enough to get a couple in, and then when your opponent smashes into you, you've then got your back row to then double up on the axes afterwards, and you're in combat.
I think a lot of people who I know have done well with them basically say you play them as a castle army.
Yeah.
Which I've always struggled in Spearhead, because I look at my cards and go,
that's
how am I
still
castling up and scoring any of these cards? I do think that City of Ash has probably actually done them a favour.
Yes.
Because I could see them just sitting on the middle objective.
Saying, come get it.
Come get it. And
put
then
some relics around them so they're getting those relics, cards.
even being able to be a bit more survivable, -1 to hits, the card for if you're next to a unit plus to your saves. You've got them together. I do think that has probably helped that army go up to a 2 overall.
All right then.
Well, the next joint one is your favourite, the Flesh Eater Courts Carrion Retainers. We gave their aesthetics a 4.
Yeah, love the army.
And we gave the army the joint lowest score of a 1. We have... no, what am I saying? You have had a lot of hate for that, Robin.
Yeah.
I didn't give them the 1. I go to your more experience, and I think you have the same issue that I had with Fyreslayers. Because we play both of them in the main game, and there's some bits that are just worse in Spearhead, that we don't have the same kind of prejudice against other armies, that we don't know any better. But these we know better, and we go, why is that just worse? And I've definitely had... I've lost to them, and I've had games when they've done pretty well. I've also had games where I've gone, well, you've only got 4 units on the board. I killed both your heroes. What are you now doing?
I suppose when we did that, Sand and Bone, not long come out, now you've got the ability to return heroes. It does help them.
It helps them. It's still
it's
not
save
like they've got
them.
the deeds or anything when they come back.
Yeah.
I think that would be an amazing rule if they put in a rule where if you bring back a hero, they have the deeds. That'd be pretty cool.
But they're not going to.
No,
unfortunately. I'm happy to keep it as a 1, just to keep
the haters.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have moved that off for 1, but if you do have more experience, so if you want to leave that at a 1,
we'll leave them as 1.
And joint with that is the Lumineth Realm Lord's Glittering Phalanx that we gave a 2 for the aesthetics, basically because They're just all infantry. They
Yeah.
basically all look the same. They luckily their second one, I think when we do that review, will be much better because they've got so much more variety to them. And we gave their playability a 3, which we did that one after the errata.
But before we'd played with them or used them.
Because the minus basically are army-wide -1 to hits, I do think is a bit crazy.
Because essentially it allows them to now have 2 facets of war.
They basically always get the fighting with 2 on your 1. So 2 activations to the opponent's 1. And then they either choose to crit on 5s or to be -1 to hits.
Yes. And that's also from shooting and
combat. Yeah. I do think some armies that will just completely shut down, basically.
Yeah.
I'm thinking any destruction or anything that's just like, oh, my army runs a ton of dice, but it is hitting on a 4, suddenly on a 5. I think that really shuts a lot of things down.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether we put that up to a 3.5. I mean, they still have the issue that
they're still quite slug.
They are all infantry. You do have a teleport you can give them, and you can double a unit's movement. So you've got ways around it. And I do think they're ones that probably benefit from City of Ash, because nothing is now obscuring in it. So the shooters can always shoot, and you've got quite a few units that you can leave by a relic, and then if they do die, they come back and they're somewhere else doing something else.
But 3 is above average when you think about it. 2.5 is average.
It is.
It's still a slow army.
I can see potential in them. I mean, that is the high. Of all the ones I've read so far, that's the highest that we've given any of them for that part. I just feel like when we're looking at them combined, I feel like maybe they are a bit better than just 5.
Put it to a vote.
It's got to be unanimous, though.
Unanimous.
You're right. Probably 3 probably is right, but it just
Slightly
I don't know.
above average.
I don't know because I really want to take them to a tournament, which I might do soon.
Well, that's what a 3 should be. They are better than most, but only just.
Well, the next one. So there's 3 with an overall score of 5.5. The Sons of Behemoth, Wall Smasher Stomp. We gave their aesthetics a 3, and we gave their playability a 2.5. Which I do think should stay, because it's what they will do. They'll either do a really good game or a terrible game. There's not a lot in between with that.
Yeah, the problem with Giants is, you'll either run in smash and hold objectives, brilliant, or you'll run in, fail the odd charge here and there, and then they'll just smash you on not objectives.
Yeah.
You've got the potential to have brilliant games. You've also got the potential to have not so brilliant. That's their problem. They've got such a big...
I do wonder whether maybe City of Ash has hurt them, because if you draw cards for like 2 things in the centre, that's 2/3 of your army doing that card, and then you also take the flanks.
Yeah,
you physically can't do
both in a turn.
Bases aren't that big, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I do wonder whether they are hurt by scoring on City of Ash. I do think that they'll even maybe hurt on how big the objectives are. Because someone else could maybe even get like 11 models on the other side of it and out control score it. And
the big one in the centre, you could have a large amount of control score and not be in combat.
Yeah, so I honestly think that maybe bits like that have hurt them.
City of Ash probably has.
I've always just thought that.
But then on the flip side, they can always just run in and they can still just steal objectives easily enough.
Yeah.
If you've got dumped your whole army on the centre objective, there's still 2 other giants.
I mean, and imagine, because I think there's a card for +1 to hits for any of your friendly units within 3 of a relic or something. If you did just decide all 3 of them will go into one thing and destroy it, they probably could, all hitting on 3s. But I do think on the whole, Sand and Bone was their
big buff for them.
Big buff, especially the side with just the 4 objectives and the +2 hits. That was just amazing. Everything else for them, I feel like, can be a struggle.
Because on the flip side, you say City of Ash. There's so many small objectives. The round objectives, they could, and again, they don't necessarily need to, but they can sit on it and just be like, well, you just can't even get on.
Definitely.
Even if you kill me in this combat, you're not getting on that objective.
Yep. So on the whole, I think we'll probably leave them
Yeah, leave
as
them
they
there.
are. Yeah. The joint with them was the Daughters of Cain, Heartflayer Troop.
Yep.
We gave their aesthetics a 2. We gave their playability a 3.5. This was so an overall with a 5.5. That was done before the errata. So I really do think that has taken a hit.
Yeah.
Because the horses were a unit you could just throw around the board. Really didn't matter. Maybe was your cover unit if they went into you. Was a unit you sent up to do whatever. Now they're not really that for you anymore.
The fact that they were a bit squishy but had a lot of wounds was good. Because you did kind of need them to die battle round 3, battle round 4, battle round 2 or 3 really.
Yep.
Now, you could still afford that, but that all of a sudden changes it, because obviously they roll. The good thing about it is they roll a lot of dice, and they would be 2s and 3s at 1 rend 1 damage. That's pretty good. Now they're probably not going to be that.
Yeah.
They've still got brilliant movement. They can still have the potential to retreat and do things well, and there's still play to them. But now the fact that you're not essentially getting a big block of horses back late game with all the buffs is going to hurt that a lot.
I just think a 3.5. I'd say they're still...
I'd put them down to a 3.
3, yeah. They're still above the middle ones, but now maybe only just, I would have said. Yeah.
There's still going to be games where you get the stuff in at the right time and they do enough damage to potentially kill enough that it's not going to matter. But in those closer games with the stronger armies now, they're going to struggle.
Yeah. I mean, kind of talking about those rule changes, I think we've been very lucky. So, of all the armies that we'd already done a review on before it, and then the rules changed in April, there were Kharadron Overlords, Ogre Moor Tribes, Skaven, Stormcast, Bone Reapers, Tzeentch, Daughters of Cain, Sons of Behemoth, Helsmiths, Sylvaneth, Flesh Eaters, Nurgle, Fireslayers, Cruel Boys, Seraphon, Nighthaunt. Quite a lot of them didn't have any changes. They had very, very minor ones. So Seraphon have had no changes. Cruel Boys haven't. Neither. Fire Slayers. Flesh Eaters didn't. Suns didn't. Bone Reapers didn't. Neither Skaven. Oh no, Skaven had a very slight one with the Ward now being a 5.
Yeah.
For the
which I don't think changes their score.
For the Storm Fiends. I don't think Ogre Moor Tribes had one. Kharadron Overlords didn't have one. So actually, there's very few. This is one of the main ones that actually probably had a meaningful one that maybe has changed our positioning of them. The last one that we've got at overall a 5.5 is one that has had a rule change, was the Disciples of Tzeentch Fluxblade Coven. We gave their aesthetics and everything a 4, which I think I'm still happy with, because I think any of those are really going to change. I love their dynamic, different things they've got in that army. It was a very nice one to put together and paint. We only gave their playability a 1.5, which I think at the time was right, but I honestly think now maybe they are a 2.
Yes, because they gained reinforcements on the Zangors, correct?
Yes, correct. Which they don't do it. The army still doesn't do a thing. They've not helped the army be any more killy, but they at least have helped the army survive a bit longer. And they've got a ton of units. So as City of Ash, I do think that was another boost for them playing on that. So I definitely think that they've gone up. I don't think they've gone up massively because they're still not killing
Like you
enough.
say, if we were talking about this in the sense of, we'd given them a 4, I don't think that would have made them a 4.5.
Yeah.
But I suppose when you're thinking that they're quite bad anyway.
We'd put them on a line with what we had as Fire Slayers at the time. We'd put them below Ironjawz, below Cities of Sigmar, and below Bone Reapers, and below Ogre Moor Tribes. I think that there's a bit of play there, so we're putting them up to a 2.
Yeah, we'll put them up to a 2. Are you recording this? Oh yeah, you're just going to change it.
We're recording this, Robin. Yeah, we're doing a podcast, didn't you realise? We're not just having a random conversation about it.
We do
Sometimes we do.
I just assume you come to my garage to talk about Spearhead with me.
So, the next ones, which we've got 2 armies that we gave an overall score of a 6. One of them was the Ossiarch Bone Reapers Tithe Reaper Echelon. We gave the aesthetics a 4. Because I do think it's a nice
Yeah.
one. They've got a bit of everything. They are quite easy to put together and paint. And they are a nice army looking on the board. But we gave their playing a 2. They've not had any kind of rule changes. And I think we're leaving them at a 2.
Yeah, so keep them where they are.
Yep. That was a nice quick one. Cities of Sigmar Castellet Company. So we gave them a 4 for the aesthetics because we basically like the cannon.
Yeah, big cannon. Cavalry
and
unit.
the cavalry unit. Yeah.
Not too many infantry.
Yeah. We gave their playing a 2. So that army we have done since the errata, and we are quite happy with where we've put it. So both those two ended up with a 6 overall score. We have the next one. We have 4 armies with a 6.5 overall rating. We have the Skaven Northwest Claw Pack. We gave them a 2.5 for aesthetics and a 4 for competitive playability fun. I think the 2.5 is basically because you have to do a whole load of clan rats. I think that's why we sort of mark those down.
Yeah, 20 clan rats maybe.
I really like the cavalry hero.
And I think he's fine. And then it's like, there's...
Ogres are nice models, but they're nothing special on the board. And then obviously you got your other little, shooty ones.
The Grace here is quite nice, but...
Yeah. And your...
Engineer.
And the engineer. So you do have a lot of nice models there, but I think I'm okay. I'm probably not changing that. It's probably staying there. The 4 still.
Yeah, because they've not had any erratas.
No.
Yeah, I think they stay as a 4. They say nothing's changed for them.
Yeah. I think they're still a very good competitive army. I see a lot of people taking them to tournaments and doing very well with them. So I think top level players can do pretty well.
The only thing I could maybe see making the argument that maybe they go to a 3.5 in the sense of we've spoke about this, and not necessarily so much in combat, but like the last 5 or 6 spearheads for the most part have been very strong that have come out.
Yeah.
And we're thinking like, is there just going to be a new curve for spearheads where all the ones coming out are just going to get stronger and stronger and stronger? There are all these original spearheads that were the peak they've not got weaker, but they're just not keeping up.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I could think to maybe bring them down.
But because that's what when they say I wouldn't the opposite. I wouldn't. That's an army now compared to Gloomspite Gits are actually really good because Return of the Clan Rats now is even better in the fact that if they do die then they come back. So they are still a very viable army.
I think a 4 still because it's still got the end of the day, they're still one of those ones where you need your combat stuff to do the right. You can't walk over armies. You've got to know what you're doing.
The next one is the Slaves to Darkness Bloodwing Legion. We gave the aesthetics a 3, and we gave the playability, competitiveness, fun a 3.5, so 6.5 overall. So they've not had any rule changes. I'm probably pretty happy with 3.5, so I think they're still better than average, just basically because they're saves and they probably have one of the best units in the game.
Yeah.
But they still just have a few weaknesses. Yeah, they still have weaknesses basically. Yeah.
Casual, higher, competitive, probably about right.
Yeah. So next to Slaves to Darkness, we've got Header Knights of Slanesh, which are also a 6.5. They have a 3 for their aesthetics and a 3.5 for their playing. Obviously, we'd literally done this very recently since their rules changes. You have done very well with them since in a tournament. Did you play against an army with a good save?
Sylvaneth are probably the best.
And what's their saves, like 4s?
I think 4s for the most part.
Because that was always... I mean, obviously, you can do maybe your D3 mortals by your dice, but I did always think that, the cavalry runs in and does damage, but can it against a decent save?
Yeah, I think I just struggled against, and I did go first every time. Big buff.
We try and do this in, lots of different ways, but one of kind of the metrics probably is this an army people can pick up and play? And that is not an army you can pick up and play.
Yeah.
And do well with.
I think do well with it, you need to understand your opponent's army.
Which if that's your first ever army you're playing Spearhead, you're not going to know anyone else's armies well enough to be able to do that.
It's not the hardest army in the world to play, but a bit of knowledge helps.
So what are you thinking?
I think keep them where they are.
Keep them where they are. I mean, we did do that fairly recently, but obviously your tournament. Maybe you need to take them to another tournament, see if you can win another one with them. So those are the ones that were 6.5. We have 3 armies that we've gave an overall rating of 7. We have the Skaven Warp Spark Claw Pack. We gave the aesthetics a 2. And we gave the Playability, competitiveness, fun, a 5. So that was one of the 2 armies we gave a 5 for.
So this is where I might actually say
Ooh.
I would put these down to a 4.5 now.
Because of that, losing that wardrobe from a 4 to a 5?
I honestly don't think the ward changes.
You never chose that one, did you? So it didn't make any difference to you.
Purely because you think back, how many armies could consistently lock up the cannon turn 1?
You're saying there's more armies now that can do it.
There's more armies now that make that so much easier.
But is it though? Because if you just set up pretty well, and if you kind of fluff that a little bit, and you're like, I did leave a bit of a gap, you can still do your 3 claws ahead and block up that gap potentially.
But that means then if you're doing that, surprisingly enough, as I've found out playing with these faster armies, these newer faster armies like the Sylvaneth, like the Deepkin, you can set up outside of the cannon's rate. If they set up in that tight corner to hide from you, you go, all right, well, you go first, and you don't shoot me.
Do you not think maybe the City of Ash, no obscuring, the cannon can shoot? I know it's on a 5, which is not really what you want, but you could still just roll high on the 2d6 and then still get like 4 or 5 mortal damage on their important thing. I mean, I wonder, because I've known a few people play it and get frustrated because they go, I don't know what the Storm Fiends are, because do I want them in combat? Do I not? They kind of misuse.
You've got to be very selective with the combat with them, because you need the shot gauntlet to do well to get out of combat to you. Yeah, they're a very weird unit. It'll still do well against most armies, but there's just more armies now that challenge it well.
Yeah. I mean, I think that one of the things that put you up to a 5 there is you just really enjoy playing that.
Yeah, that I enjoy playing.
But yeah, okay, so we're stripping one of our only 5s of its 5 status.
Well, a 5 should be a perfect army, really.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no, we'd give nothing a 5 if that was the case, I guess. Well, also on 7, but maybe that's not anymore, the Skaven, is the Ogre Moor Tribe's Tyrant's Bellow. We gave their aesthetics a 5, which is why this army is where it is. We gave the playing a 2, which is the lowest for any army, ranked this high up in our rankings.
They've not had any ratas.
Spoilers, because you were saying earlier, well, we think that Ironjawz is probably the worst destruction army. This army won our destruction tournament of the original ones. However, we've got it below 2 of the other armies.
But as we've said with destruction sometimes, destruction can if you roll enough 4s, you'll win.
I think the reason it's a 2 is I do think it's a very hard army to use because there's so much stuff coming in late. It's a lot of fun then if you've held on and survived, but if you haven't, it can be a pretty rough game.
Yeah. The amount of times I've beat them just because it's like cool. You bring your stuff in, but all of it's coming kind of in on a back objective because I've blocked you out. I mean, I've done it once or twice without trying.
Yeah, which is quite doable with from certain armies without, let's say, without really trying. Or they do get in, but they just get in at really bad places that don't do anything for them.
You sat behind a wall, so what should be a 6-inch charge is now all of a sudden an 8 or a 9, which odds on you shouldn't get.
And you're so far points ahead by that stage, it doesn't really matter that they come in and smash you because you just scored really well at the start when there's not much they can do about it. Yeah, so no, I do.
Yeah.
I thought maybe a 2.5, but maybe just leave it at a 2. The last one with our overall rating of a 7 was the Stormcast Eternals Vigilant Brotherhood. We gave that aesthetics a 4, which I think is a really nice looking army. And obviously it was so different to the other Stormcast when it came out, which was, I think, sort of why it was there. And we gave its playing a 3. Do we still think that's a 3? Didn't have any real rule changes, but I do wonder whether City of Ash might be a tough one because you only have 4 units.
Yes, City of Ash hurts them. If you hold the centre, take the flanks.
You can do it.
You can do it, but then you ain't taking,
But then you're not having your whole army by a relic or controlling the relics or whatever it could be.
So maybe they go down to a 2.5.
Yeah. I do think they are kind of middle of the ball with the army. We like it because it is, you got something in every phase, good learning one, and a lot of people will learn with it. But I do think maybe limited against kind of your top armies when you're playing against them. We're on to our top 10. So joint, 3 armies with a 7.5 overall rating, is the Helsmiths of Hashut, Hellforge Host. Basically up here because we go for aesthetics a 5.
Yeah, it's a cool looking army.
And it is still a cool looking army, so it's staying under 5. And the playability at 2.5. That was before.
Oh. Yeah, but as we've said, but one of the big things we really, really liked about the army, I don't
Is
know.
that buff to the control score?
Yeah,
I really like
I
that.
distinctly remember us being like, if anything else, you can chuck your general and the bull in the centre of the board.
5 control score each, I think, basically.
Yeah, have like 10 control score there and be like, come take it from me.
Yeah. You're not killing the bull.
You're not killing
and your
the bull.
hero's probably shrugging off 1 damage point each turn or whatever
doing
you
crit
choose
mortals.
to do. Yeah.
And now he can't do that.
No.
Because they changed the general's ability, which I do like.
Yep.
Where every demonic power point increases his range, and then everything within that range has a demonic power point.
Yeah.
But then they did reinforce the bull.
Yep.
But
it still doesn't help this army's main weaknesses. They don't have anything that can get around the board
their
and
control
hit,
score.
And it's ruined their control
Every
score.
time
They should have kept both.
Yeah. Every time I've come close to them, like someone's like, yeah, I don't know. I think they stay where they are. I don't. Yep. I think that errata, it helps them in the survivability because it means you can. Because again, one of their main weaknesses is mortals. Because if you just have an army that can do some consistent mortals to the bull dies, you struggle. Now the bull comes back, you don't necessarily struggle as much. Great. But now you've got the new one that your bull can live forever. If it's sat on an objective not controlling it, then what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. And even if it does, it's one of the ones where it does make people go, oh, do I really want to kill the bull? The bull's good, but the bull's not enough for the army to be like, oh no, if I don't kill the bull, it really will just kill me. It's like, well, the bull's going to do a bit, and I'm going to struggle to kill it because it's 2 up save anyway. Is it really going to matter much? It comes back in the 4th battle round full health.
Yeah.
Doesn't really change that much. No, I do agree. I think they stay as they are. So joint on 7.5 is Nighthaunt Slasher Host. We gave them a 4 overall for aesthetics, and we give a 3.5 for their playing. Have had no rules changes, and I still probably think a 3.5 is pretty fair because we find that they just don't do damage.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That was our issue with them. I do think City of Ash they'll be pretty good.
See, I think City of Ash brilliant. They've got loads of models to be doing stuff.
Are you feeling putting them up to a 4 because they are better on that?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Again, we did it quite early on as well.
Yes, I think that was like our 3rd review, to be fair.
So I think maybe put them up to a 4.
Yeah.
Because I think we'd had a few games where not necessarily used them brilliantly.
We first, other than that very first ever game of Spearhead we did, when we were against them, we only did about a battle round. The first time we played against them, our opponent was doing really well, and we felt like they were a really good, obviously great mobility, tough to kill because of ignoring rend, and they were quite attacky. And then when we started playing them ourselves, we were like, oh, they don't do a damage at all.
Yeah.
It was like, how is it the game, the opponent must have just had some really good rolls. And that's kind of how it felt quite killy. Because obviously a crit or 2 wound is basically all you're relying on when you're rolling your dice.
Basically.
If you can get enough 6s, you can chip damage through. But otherwise, they're so hard to make a killy army.
Mm.
But that doesn't really matter because they're just everywhere.
Yeah.
And they, unlike the other Nighthorn, they've got reinforcements, so you can send things deliberately to kind of to die. And the general was so tanky with his 4 up save. I mean, cut off the head back kind of suits them as well. So yeah, so on the whole, I think we probably maybe mocked them down because they're just not killy, but they are still probably in the top few armies for the original ones. Yeah. Exactly, so they probably are a 4. Okay, so they've been bumped up then, so their overall score will be an 8. So one of our latest ones that we did was the Gloomspike Gitz Bad Moon Mad Mob. We gave the 4.5 for aesthetics. We gave a 3 for playing, so an overall score of 7.5.
Yeah.
Is a recent one we've just done. As we said before, if we'd have done it before the errata, we'd be moving them right down to a 3 from maybe a 5, maybe a 4.5, right up there. But yeah, I think that's kind of where they sit now, unfortunately. The last one on our 7.5 rating is Stormcast Eternals, Yanastra's Spearhead. So they got a 3.5 for aesthetics, and a 4 for playing. That was, I think, our first
one, I think.
Yeah, I think that was our very first ever podcast, even. So thank you if you've been a listener since back then.
See,
Apologies for how bad it probably was.
I think maybe actually aesthetics need to go up for the way we sort of developed how we ranked them. When you think about it, you've got your Nastra, brilliant centerpiece.
It is.
You've got your Chariot, which is another good.
I think you. But I mean, again, with not just aesthetics, it's building and painting. I've got a bad feeling you did not enjoy building these.
Yes, your Nastra was one that I built and it was a bit of a struggle. But I can't remember anything else being too bad. The Chariot wasn't too bad.
Okay. I'm going to now play the clip of you talking about that going, oh, the Chariot was terrible to put together.
Yeah, but also, that was very early on. I have built much worse since then.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
So, actually, I might argue for their aesthetics going up.
So, was a 3.5, are you arguing up to a 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Inastra is a really nice model. That is one of the few armies with a brilliant centerpiece model.
And then you've got Knight of Alexor that's also...
Oh, no, I hate him so much.
I know you do. But...
but there's not just aesthetics. It is for him playing against him. So, no, okay, right. Okay, so this one might be going up a bit. Are we leaving the playing at a 4?
Yeah, I think leave it at a 4. Just for the simple fact of it does what it does very well. But it does have weaknesses. Obviously, Mortals, not great for the army. And obviously, if your Nastra and the Annihilators come in and they fail, they're 6 inches.
And I suppose...
Never fun.
And thinking about City of Ash, you only have how many units first 2 battle rounds? Is it 4?
You still have 4.
But then that is if you end up drawing, take the flanks and get the centre, can be a little bit tricky to score those early rounds than other cards might have been.
I think 4. Cool. It does what it does really well, and it has weaknesses, but not many.
So the 4 armies that we gave an 8 are the Uruk Warclan's Cruel Boys, the Swamp Skulker Gang. We gave Aesthetics a 3.
Yep.
And we gave them our only other 5.
Now again, do they maybe come down to a 4.5?
They were a 5, if I recall correctly, because again, this is an early one. It's just because they are one of my funnest armies to play. True. They have, if you're just looking at competitive, I don't think they're a 5, because they do have a weakness that nothing comes back. And you definitely have games where your stuff just dies. Your general doesn't do a thing that you kind of need him to. Your shooting bits don't pop off, and they lock them up, and you go, well, Gut Rippers aren't doing anything else for me, unfortunately. But I just really enjoy the fact that you do have a lot of things to do. You got your shooting, you got your combat, you got abilities, you got shenanigans, and you got a lot of units on the board there. Another one, City of Ash, I think probably done pretty well. Nothing being obscuring, and you do have a lot of units. You got your little hero of 5 control score who sit by a relic and be pretty hard to take off him. So if it was just a competitive, then it would be going down. But all of those things, I'm still happy. Something's got to stay on a 5. It is still one of my favourite spearheads to use.
Fair enough. You keep it as a 5, don't you?
So another one that we rated at an 8 was the Blades of Khorne Bloodbound Gore Pilgrims. They were a 4.5 for aesthetics, mostly because I just really like the aesthetics of Khorne in general, and a 3.5 for playing. So we did that after the errata, because I do think probably before the errata maybe they were a 4.
Yeah.
But I do think them taking a hit, not only losing a reinforcement, but losing a kind of a blood tithe that you kind of wanted to get by them dying, does affect that army a bit. So I think they'd probably overall stay at that. We have the Maggot of Nurgle Bleak Host. We have aesthetics of 3.5 and them a 4.5 for playing. And they have taken a hit. That was an early one we did, and they have the errata with the disease not being as good. I don't think that's really changed their competitiveness, because yes, a 5 for doing the mortal damage is a lot worse than a 4. But I always ever found that you either did a bit or you did nothing anyway.
Yeah, that wasn't
the make or break of the army. It was
that
a
wasn't
nice
what
boost.
made them good.
Yeah. So, and I do think they'll be quite good on City of Ash.
Well, or will they?
Well, I think because you get the things in later, I think that will be quite nice in City of Ash.
But the big thing about them is if you want to take the centre from, you had to fight the Blight Kings. Now you can take the centre from them and
True.
ignore the Blight Kings.
Yes, but I also think a huge objective with the 4-up ward for maybe multiple of your units trailing across, I think actually is quite nice.
That could be pretty good, actually.
Yeah, that's how I look at it.
I mean, you can literally stand on the other objective and still be on the centre one.
And again, the Blight Kings being on an objective -1 to hits on them. Yeah. Even more tanky. So I think they probably say it a 4.5.
Yeah.
I'm seeing them get play at a lot of tournaments at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, they'll always be good.
It's because I told everyone how good they are. It's all us. It's all our influence.
Blight Kings, that is a very easy army to score 3 every turn with.
Yep. So the last one, the overall rating of an 8 was Seraphon, Star Scale Warhost. 4.5 for Aesthetics, which
big dinosaurs.
I'm pretty happy about, and a 3.5 for playing.
Yeah, I think that's...
They've not had any erratas. I think they are still there because I think they are a very good army, a lot of fun to play. They do have a few weaknesses which can get exploited, but on the whole, very playable army. You see a lot of tournaments, and a lot of beginners play it and do quite well with it.
It's a fun army.
Yeah. So we're now into our top 3. So these are, you did say 2 of these when you were predicting earlier. Skaven, you kind of got well out, unfortunately. But I think that's because maybe you forgot
about the 20 clan rats.
We gave them quite low rating on Aesthetics. But we gave these 2 armies an 8.5. The Caradron Overlords Skyhammer Task Force. We gave them a 4.5 for Aesthetics and a 4 for playing. Not had any rules changes in the April one since we did it. And
I think they perform just as well as City of Ash as they did on any other ones. I don't think it massively changes them too much. They've got the units to spread out to have relics and be shooting and not necessarily in combat.
Maybe did well. Getting, again, no obscuring. Maybe
they can't. The opponent can't they've also got
block
cover
out.
now.
Yes.
So it's a bit. I think that kind of rule. That kind of.
Well, it means that they can't block out that one thing that they really, really don't want you to shoot at. But if they're an army where they haven't got that one thing, whatever they've got being -1 to hits is not great for you as Caradron Overlord. So yeah, it kind of swings and roundabouts.
I don't think City of Ash. You pick City of Ash. I don't think they're really that bothered. They go, cool.
Give me that 5-up ward for my army, please. Yeah. But then don't do the damage to units within 3 mortal damage. That's what they don't like.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's the relic for not being able to be shot at, which isn't brilliant. But it's you can't sit your whole army next to a full relic. It's...
No. True. Yeah. The other one we gave an 8.5 was the Sylvaneth Bitterbark Corpse. Another 4.5 for the Aesthetics and a 4 for playing. So exactly the same score as Caradron Overlords.
I would say they did take a hit in City of Ash because the terrain, the way it's set up.
Yes.
They can't teleport from relics because they are not terrain, they are relics.
Yeah. Yeah.
So...
And if you did Ashen Bastion and you have the big square in the middle and you can only put it around that square... If you put yours in one square and your opponent put it on the one next to yours...
So they're essentially not touching.
So you're always basically going to get healing, but teleporting could be really tricky. You're not going to teleport out of stuff very well, where you kind of want to be. So yeah, I do think they've probably taken a hit on City of Ash as a whole, just because of the lack of things. I mean, you still got the card for bringing your Tree Lord back at least.
And they've only got 4 units. What's this... What's the second unit taking the centre?
Yeah, that's a good point.
You've got your small infantry unit, but then you're not taking another objective. I suppose you could potentially push the Tree Lord up at the front and have the archers just at the back for the 3, and then I hope you're potentially teleporting out. Do we think that warrants a reduction, though?
I mean, so if you look at the ones that it would put them down to, it would putting them a 3.5 would put them the same as Seraphon, the same as Blades of Khorne, same as Slaves to Darkness, same as Hedonites of Slaanesh.
Yeah, I think maybe
so
purely just because they don't like City of Ash, I think maybe we bump them down a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably fair. Yeah. Our final one that we rated at the very top is the Soulblight Gravelord's Bloodcrave Hunt, we gave them a 4.5 and a 4.5. That was the highest rating one, a 9 overall.
So this is one that we did very close to the rule change, so I don't think we'd had a chance to play it. Do we think it knocks it down a little bit? Essentially, it made the returning the skeletons much more awkward, and you got less.
I think the biggest downside was that they now have to come on your side. Before, you know, at the end of the day, bringing back like
if you bring
5 skeletons is still nothing, but it was 5 skeletons stood on an objective on your enemy's side, or enemy territory not in combat, whatever it is. Now you just can't score that the turn you bring them back, and you can literally have 1 skeleton.
Yeah.
So I do think that did affect them maybe more than we initially thought. So I'd put them down to a Caradron, Overlords.
I mean, I think there's many new ones that probably hit a 4.5.
Yeah. I mean, I still think it is a very good army.
Do you want to go 4.25?
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of changes, and I do think that has actually impacted it more than it might have. I do still think it is a top army, but that has just maybe affected it winning that, you know, getting those crucial points that you need it to do.
Getting those sneaky
overall.
last points at the end.
Yeah. Right, okay, so we have no armies rated a 9 now. Our highest rating for these armies would be an 8.5. Do you think we will ever rate one at a 10?
Probably,
at a 5 and 5?
Not. Probably not.
Do you think we will... Are there any armies right now of the newer ones? Don't reveal them, because, you know, we want people to watch the episodes, but off just the top of your head, are there many you can think, or is there one that you could think there will be a 5 for aesthetics? I can think of one.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
For the playability, competitiveness, fun, I think that is so hard for us to give an army a 5. Again, I gave it to the Cruel Boys, and we've left it on them because I just really enjoy them, and I think they're a competitive army, and there's a lot of playability to them. But there isn't. I don't think there'll ever be like a perfect army.
No, at the end of the day, they can't make a spearhead that just is the perfect army.
And also, it gets boring.
Yeah.
If your army was like, my army just plays itself, it's brilliant. And that's not actually that fun to play. You need an army with some difficulty, which is not great for newer players, but is brilliant for advancements.
The way it's going, that as I said, they seem to, some of the newer ones they're releasing seem to be really strong. Maybe they will just have that little bit busted one.
Maybe. Yeah, and obviously at the end of the day, when you build an army, you kind of build in weaknesses, don't you? All the best armies, they have something that they are weak to, whether they've got brilliant saves but no wards, whether they're quite slow, whether they're fast but they've got great saves. There's always something, whether, you know, the whole army's, none of it comes back or all of it comes back. There's something that kind of gives it a weakness so you can beat it, otherwise it is just broken, there's no point in playing. So maybe there won't be a 5.
I don't think
Another 5 anyway, but...
Unless, like you say, they release something that's horribly broken and we do a review quick enough of it, and that just ends up being a 5, and then they actually go...
Even in the review we'll be going, well, this will be changed soon, so there's no point giving it a 5. So if you have, you know, got an army that you would like a rating for, you know, you've got your own rating for, or if there's maybe a new kind of rating system you want us to add in, that could be quite interesting.
If there's a potential third category you could think of...
that would be quite an interesting one. If you've got any ideas, we'd love to hear them. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know in the comments. If you are listening on podcasts, then either go to YouTube or email us at alloutageofsigma@gmail.com. If you are watching on YouTube, you can get next week's episode. Right now, if you go to all the podcasting places, listen on all of them, because of course you will, and do put us a review on Apple Podcasts if that is where you listen from. We're now on 10 5-star ratings on Spotify.
Well, there you go, Duncan. We know one thing that's getting a 5-star review.
Us.
Yeah.
Time for your outro then, Robin.
Apparently it ranks very high for people that walk dogs.
That's what I do when I walk my dog. Is listen to a podcast.
I only really listen to podcasts when I'm driving. I don't listen to podcasts anywhere else.
I pretty much do all the time,
Or
to be fair.
Or when I'm on like a train or something.
I do it walking the dog, washing up.
Let us know where you listen to our
sorting.
pod.
Yeah,
That would actually be
there
interesting.
you go. That I would, do you listen when you're painting? I know a lot of people do that. Is when they do the painting. You wouldn't know that, Robin, because you don't do painting
don't
and
do
gluing
painting.
much. So yeah, a lot of people I know do kind of like when they paint and glue. That's when they listen. Like Robin said, do you listen on the train, on your commute? Yeah, it'll be really interesting. And maybe all the different places that you do listen to around the world. That'll be really nice for to hear, actually. Because we can sort of see, we've got like on the podcast a map of the world and where all the listens come from. But it wouldn't be nice to sort of personally hear from you where you listen from.
Apparently our top one is the US, second one is UK, and then third is Germany.
Guten Tag. That's my German done.
We weren't smart enough to do German in school, we had to do French.
We did that terribly.
Yeah, well.
Au revoir. Bonjour.